right. Well, guys, Tom Ziglar here, CEO of Ziglar. And man, I've got two of my buds on here. I've got Brian Williams and Rich Taylor. He's kind of a brainiac when it comes to personal wellness and stress and all the things that go on there. He's also a genius when it comes to putting together creative works to express what you have. He does all of our Ziglar PowerPoints, so you may know him from there. And Brian, how long have we been working together?
Boy, working together for several years. We've known each other for a good 10, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian is if there was a certified coach designation, he's it. He's got tens of thousands, like literally 10,000 hours, right? In coaching. And how many coaches have you worked with and developed over the years?
It's probably
Thousands, right?
close to 500. Yeah, if not the
500.
thousand. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Had a
Yeah.
couple on my team
And
and trained a lot more.
last year, Brian spoke at our coach summit and just really had an impact. And he said, "Hey, I've got this program I'd love to do." And I thought, wow, if we could get the Ziegler community there. So if you're looking to hone your skills in this area and really have a greater impact, you are in the right place. And so that's really my role today. I'm here to learn. So you'll see me on mute, just listening and nodding heads, and I might chime in every now and then. So Brian, if I do that, it's just because you got me excited.
My goal is to get Tom excited enough that he shares a bunch today.
All right,
Thank you.
turn it over to you.
Thank you, Tom. We owe Tom money for all those accolades.
Yeah.
Something,
At
lunch,
least
dinner,
50 cents.
at
Yeah.
least, at least. All right, let me make sure I got the right screen here. Check that. Does that look right? Rich, is that coming up correctly for you? Do
Looks
you see that?
good. Yep. Let it rip.
Right, perfect. Well, thank you all for coming. This is a very unique event, and I'm very excited about it. As Tom kind of mentioned, I've been coaching people for a very long time, over 25 years, and seen tremendous change. We're going to do a lot of interactive things today. Tom, you're meeting me and Rich, my partner with Stress Free Blueprint. So this will be different than a lot of the things that you may attend where you just learn. Now, there's going to be learning as part of it because I think it's very important to understand more about stress, what it is, how it works. But then we're going to get into some very interactive things. So if you didn't hear me earlier, there's a PDF that we had sent out. If you have that available, if you want to print it or it's interactive where you can write digitally on it or just paper or even a Word doc so you can take some notes because I'm going to have you work through some good things personally during this time and also ideally interact. So love to have you chat certain things that's coming up for you or even speak about them. So we'll be doing lots of great interaction through this time. I just like to share this story briefly. This was, I think, 6 years ago that I ended up in the hospital in the ER and then in an ambulance going to downtown Tampa to Tampa General Hospital. And what happened was I woke up, my heart was beating really weird, my breathing was off. My wife said, "You need to go to the ER." And a typical guy's like, "I'll be fine. Everything's great." And so she asked me to go in and ultimately they did all these tests. And so for 2 days and overnight, I'm in the hospital. Thankfully, it's called uh, PVC, preventricular contractions, which if you take good control of your health and stress levels, then it stays pretty much in the background. If you don't, it can turn into other problems. But stress is a big cause of it, and hydration and potassium and a couple of other things. And so I had a really strong learning lesson. And when it's a heart and lungs involved, you take life really serious. And underneath all of it was this stress. And so it's so important for Rich and I and Tom to not only do what we preach here, we live these things, but also help you in your daily life. Now, we're not medical doctors, we're not counselors. So any of these things that we may recommend or have as options, always check with your health provider, your counselor, things like that before you would do them. But lots of these are very doable. So here's kind of what we're going to do. What is stress? I'll briefly cover that. What's some of the cost of stress? And then we're going to get into action. So the coaching part where we interact and you can actually take part in this to see your stress start dropping and tools to do that. So I'd love to start with this. If you could put in a chat, 1 to 10, how's your stress been the last couple days or even now? 10 is really high. 1 is I have zero stress. And if you're down at 1, I'm going to have you teach it because that's pretty rare. But if you can put in a chat, 1 to 10. And I'm not monitoring chat. Rich, we're seeing some chats come in.
Seven threes. Yep.
Okay.
7, 7,
Okay. Yeah. Seven's pretty common. Eights, nines
9.
even.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of
31.
stress.
What 30? I'm just kidding.
31.
Hope not.
These days, just watching the news will make it increase because there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. But we're going to check back on this stress level. So if that's kind of your stress levels, we start out. We'll check back and we'll do some things to see if it helps reduce some. So, what is stress? I'm going to start with that, really defining it. So, psychological, physiological response to internal and external stressors. It involves changes that affect nearly every system in the body. So, it influences how people feel and behave. And so, it really, we don't realize the impact of stress on everything we think and do, including our physical health. So, there's also something called eustress. So, what I want to emphasize here is that not all stress is bad. And actually, sometimes stress will propel you. So there's a type of stress that's from challenging but attainable, worthwhile things. So even me leading this today, as we get into it, I get a little stressed, but it's excited stress, right? It's participating in things, giving a speech. It's beneficial, can help a sense of growth and fulfillment. So couple things to start with. You'll never have zero stress. The only time you'll have zero stress is when you're not breathing. So you don't want to have zero stress. At the same time, there's good stress that can help propel you. The challenge is the wrong type of stress in a continual basis. So when we talk about this type of stress, which is a distress, it's designed where your body is in fright mode, and there's a few things I'll show you. But if a bear comes up on you, and Rich has a great story about his son with a bear coming up behind him, that's what our bodies are wired for. You need to be able to react quickly to actual emergencies and problems. And so there's a place for this type of stress in our lives, but it should be short term. And unfortunately, there's a lot of long-term stress where your body hits the panic button. And then it does a lot of things inside the body with the brain chemicals, with reactions, with thinking, even with your health, as I mentioned my personal story. And so stress is not a feeling. So you might think stress is a feeling. Now you will feel it. You can feel it in different ways, but it's a response to danger, physical and emotional danger. So make sure you know that difference that your body's doing something, whether you even feel it or not. There's people who have these health problems and they didn't feel stressed, but the stress was taking a toll overall. So here's kind of what the difference is. So there's called sympathetic and parasympathetic. And Rich likes to say parasympathetic is like a parachute. That's when you feel rested, people have good digestion, you restore. It's a safe environment and your body's more relaxed. The sympathetic is when you're in this fight, flight, or freeze mode. And when you're in that a lot, it does a lot, even behind the scenes to your body overall. So the goal is to help reduce that sort of stress, the sympathetic responses that you feel a bunch. And what it does is the sympathetic gives you irrational, narrow-minded thinking. You can actually make, and we have lots of trainings on this. You can make lots of irrational decisions and wish you hadn't later, or spout out because you're frustrated or upset. Where the parasympathetic, it's more rational, more creative, more problem solving. That's where we operate the best. And unfortunately, a lot of people aren't in that mode most of the time. It's more the sympathetic. So that's what this is all about. Stress is not the problem. Remember, there's a reason for a stress response is being stuck in it. So many people live in this near or constant stress without even realizing it, and it can quietly impact your health, your wealth, your sense of self, like Rich likes to say. There's a study that came out and said, on average, people who are in stress quite a bit spend $58,000 more a year just because of the stress decisions and spending. So it can really impact all different areas of life.
Actually,
So that's why,
that's a lifetime. I meant, yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's
Some
over
people
like
might be doing 58,000 a year, but it's average in a lifetime. Just want to
I
clarify.
said a year. Yeah, maybe. If
Yeah.
it's a year, that's even more stressful. But yeah, thank you, Rich, for the correction. All right. So some of the costs of stress, I want you to just take a look at this. So look and see if any of those things might currently or have come up for you because of stress. And so most likely some, if not a bunch of these, come up when you have stress. And if you've been dealing with stress for a long time, it could impact lots of these things lots of times. So when you remove the stress, here's what happens. If it'll click over, let's see. Is it doing it? Let's see. Oh, it didn't. They should all drop. Huh. I'm not sure why they didn't drop. Let's see. Anyways, there you go. So when you remove the stress, all of those, thank you, Rich, for the programming on that, can go away. So put yes in the chat if you've experienced any of those things or multiples of those things anytime in this year or even the year past. My guess is lots of those things come up for people. All right, so this is why it's so important because it impacts many things. I want to give you this quick analogy because you might think, well, stress is just part of life and I have to constantly deal with it and manage it. So I'm going to give you this scenario. Imagine that we're all on a plane together and I'm sitting next to Tom on this plane and Tom is completely relaxed, but I'm completely stressed out. We're on the same plane, same pilot, same attendants, going to the same direction, starting from the same city. Everything's exactly the same. Why is Tom completely calm and I'm completely stressed out? All the variables are exactly the same. It's because of how I'm processing it. It's what I'm putting through my mind and allowing to sit there and ruminate on that causes more stress, causes more panic, versus Tom doesn't even worry about it. And so there's a way you can shift and change the perceptions and ways that stress and these situations come up. Now, once you get into this worrisome spot, I put this washing machine here because it becomes like a washing machine. It spins and spins the worry, and your brain doesn't say, should I even be worried about this or thinking about it? It becomes true in your mind. And so there's a couple of levels when you're going through life. There's logic and then emotion and then will. When something gets past your logical thinking that says, is this even worth worrying about? Can I even change it? And gets to your emotions take over, and your brain just thinks it's automatically true. And so the goal is to pull things out of this washing machine to say, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Why am I letting this thing spin and stress me out? And take a look at it and figure out how to solve it. And that's part of what we're going to do today. So hopefully you're ready for some good interaction with all this, and we'll take some time to do some coaching through it as well. But that's some background to hopefully get you excited that stress can actually be reversed and changed. I will not say you'll have zero stress in life. As a matter of fact, some of it is good, but a lot of it can be detrimental. So stress is reversible. Calm should be our natural state versus high stress. Your system wants to have that balance. All right, so let's take some action. Let's do a few things here to start out that could hopefully immediately start to bring some stress down. And then we're going to do some activities together that will impact this even more. All right, so the first one is why stress relief comes first. So Rich and I have formed this program called Stress Free Blueprint, which talks about stress relief and then stress prevention because the goal is to prevent lots of the stressors that come up. But you first have to relieve some of the stress to be able to think through it and think clearly to then prevent it going forward. So we're going to do a little bit of stress relief here, get a little more clarity, help you feel a little better if you're a little stressed coming into this. So, what happens when we get stress relief? Your adrenaline, your cortisol, your dopamine, serotonin. I'm not going to explain all of them, but a lot of you hear of some of these brain chemicals and hormones. These things can keep you operating at a calm, energized peak, or they can keep you in a very intense stress level. And so the goal is putting these things in the right place at the right time and having the right dopamine, serotonin, endorphins always working for you instead of against you. So what does that mean? I'm going to start with this activity. So in the PDF I sent you, you have three different activities. This one's activity three. And this comes from a good friend of mine. Her name is Jen Unwin from the UK. So, um, Graham, not far south from you. I know you're in Scotland, but she's a counselor, a therapist, PhD, and she came up with this saying called daily dose: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, epinephrine. So those brain chemicals are really important. Dopamine gives you energy, helps you feel excited and want to excel in things. When you don't have it, you feel lethargic. You don't want to push through things. Oxytocin is one when you're related to people, whether it's through discussions or hugs or touch with even dogs and pets. Serotonin is a big one because if it gets too low, you slide into depression. So that one helps you avoid depression. It keeps you moderated, and endorphins are really powerful for energy. And so, if you think of all these, keeping these at a good level in your whole system all the time will help relieve stress and give you excitement for life. There are four things that kind of relate to all these, and then each one of them, there's different things you can do. But here's four simple things. I'm going to give you a tip right off the bat. One is exercise. The more you move 5 to 10 minutes a day, getting out, moving, walking, that helps increase these. Another one is being in the sunshine. So if you want to go out and walk every day in the sunshine, that actually hits two of these already. The sun helps provide a lot of that. And an interesting tip from another friend of mine said, get out in the sunshine walking first thing in the morning. It helps set your rhythm for the day, your circadian rhythm to sleep at night. So there's two things. A third one is prayer or meditation, where you're taking calm time, thinking through things, letting your body relax. And the other one is uplifting music. That does not mean Iron Maiden or Van Halen, although there's some cool tunes. This is more like classical music or worship music or things like that. All right. Any thoughts, questions, comments from anybody so far before we get into more? Does this all make sense? Okay. All right, good. Let's do a couple things together then that will help with relaxing a little bit more. So this one's called box breathing. You may have heard of it, you may not have, but breathing is a big deal, and Rich talks a lot about the vagus nerve. This helps calm that down. But the box breathing is like a box. It's four, 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 and four. And so the way you do this is you breathe in for the count of four in through your nose. You hold it for the count of four. You breathe out through your mouth through the count of four. And then you wait for the count of four. So we'll do this together. Let's do a couple rounds together, whether you've done or not. You should start to feel more oxygen, more peace coming. And this is one way to start relaxing. So I'm going to do it one time. You can watch me and then I'll count so you can do it. So in for four through my nose, hold it, hold it. All right, so now I'm going to lead you through it. All right, everybody, in through your nose, one, two, three, four, hold it. Out through your mouth, one, two, three, four, hold it. One, two, three, four. Again, in through your nose, one, two, three, four, hold it. Out through your mouth, one, two, three, four, hold it. All right, feeling a little more oxygen? You can use this anytime. You could be at work, at church, at whatever, in a store. You can stop and do this, and nobody even knows you're doing it. It can help you relax and get some relief right off the bat. All right. Very good. That's one. So we're going to do another one. We're going to do a couple of these things that will help you even right now get some really, and that you can use at any time. All right. So second one, we're going to do this little exercise together. If you can, now if your shoulders hurt or you have bad shoulders or what, watch what I do and see if you can do this. But even standing up is great. I'm doing it sitting down. But what I do is I take my hands, I interweave them, I push them out. And then I'm going to do circles. So I'm going to take my head and follow my hands up and then come back down and follow it. And then I'm going to follow my hands all the way up, look straight, and then bring it down. So let's do this together. We'll do three of these circles. Again, put your hands together, weave them together, push them out. And now you're going to start going slowly up and watch your hands go up, look straight, and then bring them all the way down. Do a big circle. That's one. Watch them go all the way up. Look straight, bring them all the way down, and then you're going to do one more. Watch them all the way up, look straight, and then bring them all the way down and all the way back out. Like a little massage. Does that feel good? Got some breathing happening, got some movement happening. So remember that list, those four things to do, some exercise. These are easy things you can start doing and applying at any time. All right. Another one is I just wanted to have you do this for 1 minute. I'm going to time 1 minute. And even if all kinds of crazy stuff's happening, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think about your favorite place for 1 minute. Think about what's around, what it feels like, what it sounds like, and just relax. Put yourself there. If it's a vacation you loved, a beach, mountains, whatever. Just there. All right. Nobody wants to come back into the session. They all want to stay wherever you're at. That was 1 minute. And I'm curious, put in the chat, where were you thinking? Where did you go in your 1 minute? Where'd your mind take you? You go for sharing, or you can come off mute too. Love to hear where you went.
Lisa said the beach,
I love it. Beach is
horseback
excellent.
riding, watching sunset Lake Michigan,
Love it.
Mount
Excellent.
Rainier.
Mount Rainier, beautiful. I actually have a fish tank in my office and I can hear a
Cool.
little bit of water. So I was like at the mountains with the stream right there.
In Beetle Beach, 10 years ago, running in the backwoods with my dogs. That sounds cool.
That does sound cool. All right. Are you starting to feel a little more peaceful from when we started? Wherever you started at. Hopefully you're starting to feel a little more peace. Some of these things you can do right away at any time. All right. So good. Use these, write these down. There's lots more of these that we've got that you can use. But I want to move to the next thing here. I want to share with you. So dopamine again is really important for energy and excelling at things. Learning something new promotes dopamine. What you're doing right now is promoting dopamine. It gets you more energized. So we intentionally are doing this to help you get some more dopamine. Dopamine can come from lots of places, lots of unwanted places like addictions. It can come from um, t toxin or foods that you eat. It could come from scrolling on social media. All these things. It doesn't necessarily mean some of them are bad, but it means you can get into this place where you're constantly wanting it from those sources versus things like learning new things, getting new experiences, eating good, healthy meals, going for workouts. All those kind of things are the better ways that your body absorbs it. Serotonin gentle movement, and quality sleep. So sleep is a big part of stress relief. If you're not getting good sleep, that may be a key area to start. All right, so we hit a bunch of these to start out so far. Again, stress won't be eliminated forever, but you can manage it and you can recover quickly from it. So that's part of our key. Once calm is restored, then we teach what's called stress prevention. So stopping stress before it starts. And what does stress prevention mean? So we're going to talk briefly about it, and then we're going to try a couple things here. And I'd love for you all to share as well as we do this. All right. There's something called stress triggers. And triggers are things that, whether you know it or not, are happening in your life or in your mind that cause you to go into a stress mode. And so these can be very consistent through life where they are constantly having you get into a stressful spot and you don't know how you got in that stressful spot. And it's usually not the thing that is bothering you right then. It's usually a few steps back that trigger the thing to happen that then becomes very stressful. So we do a lot with these identifying stress triggers and then how do you turn them off or shift them in different ways so that they don't then become stress. This is helping to eliminate stress. Lots of times they're built into your habits, they're built into your routines, and all of a sudden you're in these stress modes and you don't even know why. So eliminating stress is not just the stress itself, it's the thing that's probably three steps back that cause it here that then ends up being in stress. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, so I'm not going to do a deep dive into all the triggers right now. There is some trainings and things that we have on all that and what common ones are and how to relieve them. But let's do an interactive thing currently to help see where some of these might be right now and some ways to help eliminate or resolve them. So this was part of the PDF. If you don't have it, no problem at all. Get a pen and paper or something to write on, whether it's a tablet or literally pen and paper. I'm going to walk you through this scenario. So I've coached thousands of people, tens of thousands of hours, and I've had through the coaches that I've had on staff and trained, have coached over 1 million people. And what I've found is very consistently, if you're stressed out, the other goals you have in life don't happen. They can't happen because you're so stressed. Your mind can't even think about how do I achieve all these other things. So I came up with this years ago and it has been very impactful. As a matter of fact, one gentleman told me I've been going to a therapist or counselor for 5 years. This did more for me in a month or two than that did in 5 years. I'm not recommending that those resources aren't very valuable. They are, but there's some ways here that can help right away. So let's do this together. I want to have you with your pen and paper or your PDF. I want you to write down all the things you can think about that are stressors in your life. Bullet point fashion. You don't need paragraphs, not even full sentence. List them all out. You might have five, you might have 50. It's okay. Everything you can think of that's causing you stress, put it on your paper, one line at a time. So I'm going to give you a minute here and just keep thinking of any things that right now or happen through the week or happen periodically. Jot all those down. Don't get stressed as you think about them. Just put them down. Nobody's going to see this, so don't worry. Thinking what stresses you. All right. A few more seconds here. What else is a stressor? All right, let's finish up. You can always add to this. You can always do this more later. But I'm curious, is anybody willing to share one or two stressors? Okay, whether you come off mute, put in the chat. I'd love to hear some of the things that may be causing you stress. Again, you don't have to share all of them or anything, but I'd love to share. It's great to have the group interact with each other, and that's what the power of coaching is, not just Brian, it's really everybody. So anybody up for sharing what you're
Frank
coming up
says
with?
money.
Yeah, okay.
I've got one.
Yeah.
Um, being unemployed yet trying to be helpful to my parents who are aging.
Yeah, that's two. There's two together. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Karen. Thank you. That can be stressful. What else? What else do people have? See other stressors. What do you see
Some
in the
people,
chat, Rich?
yeah, I'm noticing aging parents. Some people said finances. Now, the thing about finances is, I'd even say there's a saying that um, most problems are caused by financial issues, but we believe that most problems are caused by being highly in a stress response that causes you to think in the irrational part of the brain that causes the financial issues. So most times it's not the financial issues of the problem, it's realigning your brain to get out of the stress response. Then you'll be able to think clearly and then make the right decisions and not make the impulsive decisions that get you into financial issues. I've seen that personally in my own life too, and
Yeah.
it can make a big difference.
Thank you, Rich, for sharing that. Yeah, it's finances are a big one. They can stress you out. They can stress couples out. The number one cause of divorce is finances, and lots of times it can be from wrong decisions and things like that. We also hear a lot of work or bosses or neighbors or sometimes, the political environment and news. There's lots of things that can stress anybody out, and everybody's a little different. So think about the stressors, and thank you for writing those down and sharing those. We're going to do some more sharing here as we go. So there's two columns right after that I'd like you to look at all your stressors and put, is it in my control or out of my control? So for each one, I want you to put a check mark. I want you to put a column that says in and a column that says out. And I want you to put a check mark next to the stressor and say, is that in or out? And some of them could be partly both, but generally they're going to be one or the others. It's something that's in your control or out of your control. So take a minute and do that. Sometimes you have to think through these. And what I'm doing here is pulling your stress out of the washing machine and putting it into your logical things so we can actually take a look at it. All right, so here's what's really fascinating. You probably have a mix of both. There's some that are in my control, there's some that's out of my control. Here's the thing. Almost everybody has certain things they worry about that are stressed out that's completely out of their control. When it's completely out of your control, you're wasting every second you worry about it. You're wasting brain cells, you're wasting time, you're wasting your health because there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to look at those items and say, how can I let this go? What can I do with this thing? Because every second you spend on it is hurting you. So I'll say that again. Every second you spend worrying about something completely out of your control is hurting you. So how do you get rid of that and focus on the things that you can control? So think about that for yourself. So I guess in the chat, if you want to unmute, what are some ways you could put away the worries about things out of your control? Anybody can share because we all learn from each other.
Give it to God. Lisa says, give it to God.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Mindfulness. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep a journal.
Keep a journal. Yeah, that's great. All these are really good. You have to think for yourself, how can I turn this over, get rid of it, get it out of my focus? Because that focus will pull you way off focus. So I'll give you another tip. There's one that you can actually write these things down, get them out, and tear it up or burn it. Say, this is not mine. And every time it comes back, keep getting rid of it because you need to use your time on things you can control. So now if you look at your list and say, what's in my control? Here's what happens. When you take things that are in your control and you come up with a plan of action, you automatically start relieving stress because you have hope. The key for stress, the opposite of stress is hope. You have hope of something, you're going to move towards that hope. So this says, okay, what can I actually do? What's one step I can do to improve this that will give you hope and it gives you a new direction? So look at your list now. So what are the things that are in your control? I want you to write down at least a first step, something you can do potentially to help with that thing that's in your control. We talked about finance. Finance is a big one. Maybe it's get a person who's helping you with a budget. Maybe it's the Ramsey program. Maybe it's putting out more resumes if you need income, whatever it is. But what is it that's a step that can help you move past that thing that's in your control?
Yeah, Frank said, learning to acknowledge what you can and cannot control has been one of the greatest lessons I've learned in decades of therapy. Oh, my thing just changed again. Sometimes, and Carl said, sometimes just talking about it with someone you trust takes some of the stress off. Tom
Absolutely.
says clarity reduces stress.
Absolutely. That's why we do this. This is why coaching is so powerful because you start hearing, well, I'm not the only one. Other people have stressors, and here's different ideas. Can anybody share something they had that is in their control that they could do something about?
Actually,
Anybody?
I want to share a quick story. There's this guy named Frank who at work was a worrywart of everyone at work. He was always worried about everything. So one day he came in and he wasn't worrying anymore. And so all his coworkers were like shocked that Frank, what's going on? So finally, after weeks, they approached him as a group and said, Frank, we noticed you're not worrying anymore. You're totally set free. What's going on? He said, well, I hired a professional worrier to do all the worrying for me. And they said, well, that's amazing. It really works. Oh, wait a minute. You hired him. How much did that cost? $1,000 a day. Oh, $1,000 a day. How are you going to pay for it? He said, I don't care. That's their problem.
He's going to worry. Frank will worry about it. I don't recommend that approach, but it's
If you got
beautiful
a
one.
thousand dollars a day, you're not worried about money.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. All right. Anybody willing to share, come off mic and say, here was a stressor, here's something in my control. Here's a step I could take. It helps everybody to hear different ideas and thoughts and things. Anybody up for it? Other than hiring a professional warrior?
I'll chime in here.
That's
So has anybody here ever been like focused on something and the thought comes into your head, like, oh no, and you get stressed about it? So
never. I'll never.
never, yeah. So what I do is I set aside 15 minutes a day to worry.
Hmm.
And I take that thought and I write it down. And what I've done is I've signaled my brain, hey, at 10:30, I'm going to get with that. So it frees you, right? Because your mind has put that somewhere where you're going to handle it. And then when you get there, you do this stress control blueprint, right? You go into this and you go, is it in my control or out of my control?
Yeah.
Right? And if it's something that is in control and it's important, you create a plan, you get clarity. And then if it's not, well, I that's above my pay grade, so I just give it to God. So, but it keeps my sanity and my focus in the moment because I know that I'm human. I can't avoid that thought, right? I mean, it's going to come, but I'm not letting it build a nest there. I'm putting it over in the parking lot, and I know I'm going to go look at it.
So good. So good. It's a matter of us taking control and saying, what am I going to do with this versus it controlling you, the stress and all that. All right. Anything else? Anything in the chat, Rich? Anything else?
Yeah, good point. Yep. Everyone says that they love that idea, Tom.
Yes. Excellent. So you got 15 minutes to worry and then move on. All right. So hopefully this is getting helpful. Hopefully you're experiencing a little more relief just by getting this out. Because if you have things in the washing machine, it's going to spin and spin and it's going to get worse versus let me look at this and let me see what I can do and stuff I shouldn't be worried about ultimately. Now, I'm going to give you another tip that's also very helpful. This is activity number 2. So, this is kind of fun. So remember, the opposite of stress is hope. There's a great verse in the Bible that says, without vision, people perish. What that says is if you don't have vision, you're dying. Vision of the future gives you hope. You want some things to be hopeful for, some things to be excited about. So I came up with this things hoped for list. I'm going to give you another minute to write down something. So get your pen and paper handy or however you want to jot some things down. And I can't wait to hear what you all come up with. What I'm going to ask you to do is write down as many things as you can think about that you enjoy doing And if you had an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, you would go do some of these, whether it's read a book, go for a walk, whatever it is. I'm going to give you 1 minute to write down as many of those things that you can, and then we're going to check in. So ready, go. Let's see how many you can get. Keep on going. You got 20 seconds left. All right, 15. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, pencils down. I feel like it's school. But this is a fun exercise. Let's see. Put in the chat. How many did you get? How many did you come up with? Let's see. Let's start there first. How many different things did you think of that you enjoy doing, that you look forward to?
Sheila said 5.
Okay.
Frank said 7, 5, 6, 5, 7. That's good.
Okay. Great. But keep going. Keep going. Put it in chat. How many did you get? I've seen as many as 15 one time, but that was a lot. Keep going. Pop it in the chat. Anybody else? All right. So the goal is to get to about 15 or 20. Doesn't mean you have to do it in a minute, but making this list is important because what it does is it's things that you ex are excited about and increase your dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, all those things, because even probably reading this list, you're more excited. You're like, oh, I'd love to go do that. Here's what I find is really fascinating. Most of the lists that I ever see is either very inexpensive or free. If you look at your list, most of those things aren't going to stress you out because they cost money. A lot of times it's hanging out with friends, going for a walk, going to see the sunset, whatever it is. You can do these at any time for very little cost. And so the goal is here, put at least one of these in your schedule every week. So I want you right now to pick one and say, when am I going to do this week? Is it Friday? Is it Saturday? Is it tonight? Tomorrow? I want you to put a time and a date that you're going to do one of these. And here's why. Because even if you're in a stressful week, if you say, I can't wait till Friday, I'm going to go watch a sunset at the beach, your brain shifts because it's got something to look forward to and something that's fun. So it's reprogramming your mind from focusing on all this stuff to things you enjoy. And one of the things I always recommend is put one of these in there every week because now your brain will shift and it will actually help you moving forward. All right, what are some of the things you put on your list? I'm curious. Put in the chat what your top two, and let's see what people came up with. What do you like to do for fun? Let's see, Rich, if you want to check it.
Yes, told my staff to book their holidays early so they always have something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's right.
At the beginning of the new year, date night, watch funny movie,
Yeah.
museum.
You can just get on a call with Rich for funny stuff. He's always cracking me up.
I'm like a mushroom. I'm a big fun guy. I have more puns than time outside with
Don't
the
get him,
dogs museum.
don't get him started. It will definitely relieve your stress, though. All right.
Get a new location.
This is great. Here's a cool tip too. Even trips, right? Trips are fun. They could be very close, they could be far. The planning for a trip is just as exciting as a trip. If you start planning for something that's 6 months, you're going to be excited about it and looking forward to it, and that helps you as well. Yeah.
Singing, spending time with friends, get away to a new location with a friend to explore. Yeah, it's
All
all good
right.
stuff.
Let's check in. we did some stress relief. We got some things on paper. We found out things. How's your stress level now? 1 to 10. Again, 10 is really high. One is none. Let's check in to see how it's doing.
6,
Good.
5, 2,
Good.
5, 3, -8. Wait. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm hopeful.
Negative. That'd be a problem, actually. Yeah, so hopefully you're
4,
already
3. Yeah.
experiencing
Yeah.
some good.
Yeah.
All
What
right.
we say is that, believe it or not, when you examine everything through all the stuff we've got, you'll find that 80% of most people's stress is actually in their control, which is great because that means you have the ability to turn it off.
Yeah. But it takes understanding and getting out of the washing machine and all that.
Absolutely.
And so, in
You need a
coaching,
you need a blueprint.
that's right. The goal of coaching is to help you come up with a next step. So hopefully this has gotten you to a next step. We also want to say, how do you stay stress free? So, wanted to let you know what we're putting together. If you like this, if you're interested in getting more stress free, there's more tools that we have to be able to do it. So, I mentioned I coach thousands of people. And so I found there's three key things to help reduce stress. And so some of those things we've been working on. One is having support. Somebody talked about this, just talking with somebody, just getting it out, just sharing is kind of a big deal. Continued learning, growing to understand yourself and what the situation is, and then longer term habits. Because you can leave today and be like, I'm at a 2 on my stress level, and by tomorrow you're back at an 8, right? It's forming the habits to say, how do I stay in this lower stress, calm spot? Rich and I practice this all the time. It doesn't mean we're zero stress, but and I'll just share this brief story. I'll try not to get emotional, but at the end of last year, I have a 9-year-old who was in the hospital a lot. She was a little athlete. She's a synchronized swimmer, and we ended up 28 days in the hospital, mostly during Q4, and I didn't know if she'd walk again. She got to the place where she couldn't bend her legs and she's in a wheelchair and I'm carrying her. And I had to do a lot of the things that we put together here to keep stress down because it can really overwhelm you. Thank God she's back at almost full capacity now. Took him a long time to even figure out what it was, but it's no joke. Stress can come on you and it can actually cause a lot of problems. So we're very passionate about what we do and why we do it. If you liked this type of environment, we are starting on April 6th, 6 live group coaching sessions that go in more depth. And so it's this interactive type of thing. It's not just teaching, but it's literally to help be interactive to get you the next steps on what you do with this and apply it so that it becomes a long-term, lifelong scenario. So first part is introduction to how we're going to do all the group coaching and getting kind of established. Then we do, so if you like the relief stuff, there's a lot of these we have immediately relief within 1 minute. We have within 5 to 10 minutes, and we have 30 minutes or more. There's all these things you can do for stress relief. So we'll go into a bunch of those and apply them. The stress triggers is a big one. So not only do we describe it, but help you find yours. What are your stress triggers? How do you help identify them and bring those out? And then how do you remove them, basically? How do you remove the stress triggers? Understanding some of the habits. So again, the key to long-term calm is changing your habits. I'll give you a quote. The quote is, you become the habits you keep and the decisions you make. And that's ultimately what your future is. And so if you form new habits that help with the calm, it makes a big deal. So, and then we'll put it all together for a longer plan. So this would start on April 6th, so a week and a half. Love to have you be with us. And also, actually, we're including, whether you've seen this before or not, we have stress-free immersion, which has all these, and they're already recordings, and they have the worksheets that go with it. That will be included with this as part of the package. And then all the recordings again, and these go deeper into the understanding of it, but we'll do the coaching. And then there's also the pathway. So this is, you get that included the first month. but every week we have stress-free videos. And so it covers all these different areas, inspirational videos, so it covers all this. So it's kind of like a shot in the arm every week to say, how do I keep working on staying calm, managing stress all throughout? So we love to help people literally get to the calm life that they're created for, live it out. We never say zero stress, but when it's managed and minimal, then you actually live a much better life. So that includes the library that we've already got, the new videos that come out, live sessions. So all that's kind of a big package we put together just for Ziglar. These are all separate. If you go to the website, they're all separate. What we do is we put it all together for 247 for the 6 free coaching for the immersion for the pathway, or 3 monthly payments of 85. And so if you like this, if you would like to apply more of it, we're not here to force anybody to do anything, but we love to help people get to calm and get to a place where they can make decisions, actually have the quality of life that should be there. Rich, I don't know if there's anything to add that you wanted to add.
It's a lot of stuff. I think the immersion is four 1 hour recorded sessions, and the pathway every week, literally for a whole year. If you go on the website, and Brian will show you in a second, it lists out every week. Every month is a different category. Some months are weight loss, some months are finances, some are relationships, some are even holiday stress-free holiday in December. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Rich. So I think of this, I think Tom just had a drop for another webinar, but Zig, who literally changed my life, said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So my statement is, if not now, then when? If you've struggled with stress, if you want it to be calm, we've got the tools. We really have a solution that's very helpful. We've had people in the immersion already and in the other programs, and the testimonials are they're saying it's changing my life. And so we just love that because that's the purpose of all this, is to help avoid hospital visits and other situations that become a real problem. All right, so money back guarantee. We want to make sure that you love this, that you get a lot out of it. Here's how to get to it. So there's a QR code. You can actually take a picture of it, and then if you hold the picture, it'll take you there, or you can go to stressfreeblueprint.com, which is our website. Right at the top of it, there's a yellow button that says interested in coaching, and you can click on that. And again, we'll start in about a week and a half, and we'd love to have you there. Love to help you in any ways that we can. But there's lots of tools there. We also have a new team member, Steven. I don't know if Steven's still on, but he's helping, and we'll be reaching out to you probably just to see how your stress is doing in the next week or